We got to break down Monday Night Football, which shockingly in the second half turned into a crazy game.
Crazy game. I mean, really, almost like the night before on Sunday Night Football, where you go through 3 quarters, there is clearly one team that is way better than the other, right? The Ravens were better than the Bills for 3 quarters. I don't think anybody – the Bills were playing in desperation mode. Last night – you felt like, wow, the Vikings are hanging on for dear life. If Chicago can just make one more play here, this game's going to be over. And they blew a lot of opportunities in that. But, of course, like the big story is the 2 quarterbacks, right? And I think that's where let's hit on that.
Because everybody's going to be overanalyzing or analyzing
We'll get into that
these
stuff.
guys.
But
yes.
Let's talk about them and what we saw from each one of them.
Well, I think everybody's looking at Caleb Williams at the point of like, okay, you have Ben Johnson now.
Yeah,
It's all there for you. We like the skill talent, the rebuilt offensive line. But it's a matter of he has the first drive where it's great to see him go down the field. Surgical, take care of business. But then off the script they've been planning all week, it didn't exactly look that way.
No, it definitely didn't. And I think let's say this too. First off, I mean, these are 2 young quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, new offense, still trying to get that underneath his belt a little bit and figure all that out. And again, I can tell you, it's a crash course. I know it is. I've talked to people in Chicago. It's a crash course. He's learning a new vocabulary way to play the game. He's under the center. He's doing checks like that. So that's all new. And then, you get to play the Vikings and Brian Flores in week 1, right?
Yeah, dealing with disguised pressures.
Exactly. There's nobody more creative and does crazy stuff. Early on in the football game, I thought it was funny because you could kind of tell, like, Flores was flustered, like, oh, man, they're doing things to me, and Ben Johnson has my number. And then we got to, like, late third quarter, and it was, like, total flip-flop. It was like Brian Flores was walking around the sideline like, wait, I finally got a feel for this. I know what they're doing. And you could tell, like, Ben Johnson was flustered.
And that's what the numbers show. Right. I mean, you look at quarters 1 through 3 when Caleb Williams was pressured, he was 4 for 4, 36 passing yards. He was averaging 9 yards per attempt. He didn't take a sack. He had basically all the answers to what they were showing him. But then, Chris, it totally changed in the fourth quarter where he's pressured 7 times. He only completes 2 of 7 attempts under pressure.
Right.
The yards per attempt falls off a cliff, 3.7, and he does take 2 sacks.
Yeah.
What did Flores figure out in the fourth quarter that Caleb could not see?
That's where I'm interested to watch the film, right? There was a number of plays where, even on replays, where Caleb got completions where I would have gone, ooh, in another 2 weeks, he's going to feel more comfortable at this play, and he's going to hit this in cut or this guy over a middle. But it's the first game of the year, and usually you tend to be a hair conservative because it's your first time, live bullets, everybody's flying around, and you don't want to just, hey, I'm going to fire the ball everywhere. But obviously, in that fourth quarter, second half, whatever, I mean, I think there was 2 things. They couldn't really run the ball, not to the extent Ben Johnson was used to running at Detroit. So play action kind of went out the window there. And then, it felt like the way they mixed things up, that, Caleb didn't like what he was seeing. There wasn't people open, at least on the few replays I saw later in the game. It didn't look like, he's missing wide open people. Troy Aikman's pretty real about usually going, he could have done that. And he made comments like that early on in the game. I didn't hear it at the end. So that makes me think that, that the Minnesota Vikings were all over things a little bit. And it became a drop-back fest that way. Yeah. And I don't think that's necessarily conducive to what the Bears wanted to do either. Bottom line is, it wasn't perfect. I get that. Early on, it looked good. This is a tough test. And Caleb Williams, I'm just a believer in him still. I know it wasn't perfect. He missed some throws last night. He missed throws, honestly, because I think he was throwing the ball too hard. He was too juiced up. The slant throw he had on the 4th down, right, that he should have hit.
He's just ripping it.
He just ripped it. There was a few throws like that I felt like a few screen passes. He was a little off target, like bubble screens to the wide receivers. Some of those things where, he wasn't as sharp as I think he'll be as we go further here. But you saw some unreal throws. You saw some unreal scrambles and throws, and you saw some scrambles, period, where you go, whoa, Caleb Williams is way faster than I think people realize. And I think those are the encouraging things. It stinks they lost. They blew the game. He's going to be mad he missed some things. Ben Johnson is certainly, in my opinion, should be mad with how he handled the game in general with some clock management and some game management. I did not think he had his best night there. But all in all, still, I think it was a positive start for the Bears, but they're going to be sick that they blew this one and lost it.
You bringing up the running is something in general I want to ask you about. Yeah. Do you think, because we saw this from Herbert, we saw this from Mahomes, we saw this from Caleb Williams, a lot of quarterbacks, Do you think we saw more running week 1 from places we don't always expect it because these guys are just healthy? Or do you think this is an emphasis talking point over the summer?
I think it's the modern day NFL, you got to do it.
Right.
You got to be able to scramble and buy some time. The defenses are too creative and too good. So for you to think I'm just going to drop back and throw balls in rhythm like I'm Joe Montana in 1989, I don't know, that day is over. It's like if you drop back 3 times, one of those 3 times is going to be fire drill. And you're going to have to do that. So I think they're aware of that. And then I think the second part of that is it gets into what I just said. It's early in the year, and I think guys, the game's not in slow motion yet for these quarterbacks. So they rely, that's a little too tight. I don't want to put us in a bad position right here, right now. I'll run or do something that way. I think that's another one of the main reasons. I've heard how many people, Patrick Mahomes on Friday night, and then I believe Lamar Jackson, and then there was another coach where they asked what was the most important thing about first games, and it was like not being too aggressive and not turning over the ball. That's the thing that in the week 1 is pounded into the quarterback's brain a little bit to where they probably miss a few plays because the coach has said things like to them for the last 3 days about be careful, it's week 1, we're all getting our bearings straight, let's not turn over the ball and try to play clean that way. I think that's probably the answer for me.
One more thing on Caleb, because I want to talk McCarthy and this Vikings offense,
course.
where that was the tale of 2 games in its own. Tyler Dunn this weekend released a long-form series. It was kind of chronicling the 2024 Bears dysfunction.
Right.
There's stories in there of Caleb Williams not working well with coaches, maybe questioning his work ethic. What do you think of this stuff in general, especially when a staff is let go, but the former number 1 overall pick is obviously still there, and kind of the perception of how this stuff gets out?
Well, I would bet that almost 50% of what Tyler Dunn had gotten there about the negative aspect is maybe 80% from the last coaching staff. So I don't think that's always fair. Okay. Caleb Williams, did he approach everything right last year? Probably not. I understand that. And then also, let's not forget, he's kind of thrown them under the bus a little bit with nobody was teaching me. Nobody taught me how to watch film. So they're probably like, what? Like, come on. Like, right? So he's done that a little back to them. I think that's the first place my mind goes there. The other aspect of this is, it's been a charmed life for Caleb Williams.
Yeah. He was the number 1 pick 2 years before he left school.
He's been the man since high school.
Right.
Oklahoma was like, we'll do whatever. Come here. Here's the red carpet. And then it was like, you're awesome. And then he's like, wait, there's a redder carpet out at USC now. And they're like, here's the red carpet again. And then he gets to Chicago, and it's red carpet. So, I think he's learning a little bit about football, the humbleness of it, the do's and don'ts that are kind of the rules of the NFL. I think that's part of it here. And then, you got a little bit of bitterness and things like that from an old coaching staff.
So, J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings offense.
Right.
I think first half and maybe even the first 3 quarters couldn't have looked more concerning. It's almost where you're watching the game and you're like, I'm starting to feel bad for him with how bright the lights look.
Right.
And then everything turned in the fourth quarter. You look at just the stats from the first 3 quarters, 7 to 12, 56 yards, under 5 yards per attempt. He was sacked 3 times. He was holding the ball.
Yeah.
He just wasn't processing well.
Right.
He throws the pick 6, which it was a bad decision. Fourth quarter, he really couldn't miss Chris, and it just felt like the clock was so much faster.
Definitely. Got comfortable within the game. Hey, just like we said about the other guy, let's just start it off there. You're in Chicago for your first start ever against the Bears, who have a little talent on your defense, and Dennis Allen ain't no cupcake preparing for that either. Brian Flores is as annoying as it gets. Dennis Allen is top 5 annoying defensive coordinator to prepare for as well. So I think there's some of that. There's nerves. There's anxiousness. He's from the Chicago area and all of that. He's got family. You haven't played football in a while? Yeah, he looked like the deer in the headlights. He did. They couldn't get out of the huddle in some plays. You don't even see that. You don't see that a lot. He couldn't call the play and hear it and get out of the huddle. Every play was a rush. Here's the thing I'm most amazed by. First, his continual positive attitude through all the bad thing. Even the pick 6, you go, yeah, for sure, I'm fine. I can read his lips saying that. This is where Kevin O'Connell's the quarterback whisperer. I've been in these situations. I've played in games under Mac Brown and John Gruden where I didn't look good early on in the game, and I could see the panic on their face. And then it filters to everybody else. They were so like that. Like Gruden and Mac Brown, it was like, oh, 2 drives.
Yeah, what are we going to do?
Oh, no. Should we bench everybody? And it'd be like, chill out. Like, what are you doing? And why are you making everybody on the team feel unconfident? Kevin O'Connell never blinks in those situations. That's what I love about him. That's why every quarterback plays awesome for him, because they're like, hey, he's in this with me. He's not going to ride me for every little wrong decision I made. It's football. It's not perfect. I don't think he did him any favors with how he called the game early on.
Interesting.
That would be not throwing the ball enough, not enough easy completions. Ben Johnson came out firing early and got Caleb some easy completions to where he could feel good. JJ did not get that. But when he got going late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, you see the arm power, you see the toughness, you see the underrated athleticism on the touchdown run. And even him, he had a few throws in the game where I think Justin Jefferson had the 2 drops. I'm telling you, he dropped it because he was like, holy shit, that was a fireball. That was a laser.
Thielen had one too.
Exactly. Thielen was the other one.
That was the one where you never see Thielen drop that pass.
No, but I think J.J. McCarthy and them being young and amped up, his arm just was firing the ball. Those are 2 strong arms, those 2 guys. But the way he handled the bad and then how he bounced back, very impressive by J.J. McCarthy.
A game that some people might have turned off. It had some key turning points. I think it starts in the second quarter. Chris, the Bears are up 7-3. It's 4th and 2, Minnesota 24. Caleb missed DJ Moore. One of the misses that you talked about.
Right.
It's just
look, listen, the play was there. He should hit it. There's people in his face a little bit, right? But I mean, Caleb Williams, as awesome as he is, I've seen him do that, 9 million times already in his career. So that stinks. But I'm just, how I am. I'm old school, and especially in week 1, it's 7-3. You got a young team. Just take the points. Go up 7.
Saw a lot of this in week 1.
A lot of it,
yeah.
Right? I sat there with the game at 17-12, I think early fourth quarter, and went, the game should be 23-12. They miss an easy field goal, and then they didn't kick a field goal, where I go, this shouldn't be so nerve-wracking for them. But that, those 3 points right there certainly hurt their football team.
And then you had the weird Ben Johnson challenge on the TJ Hawkinson, which was clearly not a fumble. He
got emotional, I think.
It was like, we need something here.
Right, and he was just hoping. It was almost like hoping, where this is where you need somebody who's in your ear up in the box somewhere or something to go, hold on, we haven't got a good look at it. Hold on. No, don't challenge us. It felt like he was a little bit like, I saw it. He definitely fumbled, and he went with it, and it was, of course, not good there.
Do you think most NFL teams by now have a replay challenge guy that has comms to the head coach?
Yes,
in baseball, they all have them.
Yeah, I do think. I think
you
most
got
do.
No time. You have to, right?
Yes, right.
But not a good challenge.
No.
In the third quarter, right down at the end, 49 seconds, the Bears are up 17-6. DeAndre Swift had the 12-yard reception down to the Minnesota 12. They call holding on Darnell Wright. So it was like, okay, we finally got a play we've been looking for.
Right.
1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yep.
2 plays later, you had the Caleb Williams intentional grounding.
And that was the Darnell Wright holding call that I don't think it was right.
Nobody liked
that.
That
was the referee's got to stop doing that. I see a guy on the ground. He must have held. Yep. No, the guy tripped and fell, and he just pushed him down to the ground more. That was not holding. And they're taught that. Make sure you see the penalty. Don't say, I think I saw something out of the corner of my eye. That was a bullshit bad call right there. That hurt the Bears, certainly.
They're also calling it a lot on the snatch, trap technique.
Right.
And that's a perfect technique. I saw multiple times this weekend they keep calling that. But like you said, because the defender's on the ground, they go, oh, he must have been held.
Yeah, exactly right.
They need to go back to the drawing board right away.
Right.
That's going to ruin offensive line play.
Hopefully the game's moving fast for them in week 1, 2 to where they see that stuff and get taught, not to fall victim to it.
Right. So Cairo Santos misses the 50-yard field goal. And this is where the game completely changed.
Yeah.
It just completely changed. And then even when the Bears seem like they have a shot, maybe the biggest talking point, because it's the one you leave the game with, is the kick that, there's 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. You have the 2-minute warning.
Right.
You cannot put that ball in play. And if you can't reach the end zone, just kick it out of bounds.
I don't understand this. I was texting Pete Demoletitis what was going on. Right? Even announcing the game, you got to kick it out of the end zone. No, you don't.
You don't have to.
If you kick it, out of the end zone or whatever, they get the ball at the 35. If they kick it out of bounds, They get the ball at the 40. Who
5
cares?
yards don't matter at this point in the game.
Who cares? No, it's all about the time.
Yes.
I honestly think they were even fortunate. There was before they even scored, there was 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. I think after or they could kick it short of the landing zone. Like you said,
you
there's
actually
a lot
have
of
three options.
They
that are
picked
better than this.
the worst one. And I don't understand that. I was shocked by that moment. I really was. So I think that, and then also, I think they were very fortunate that, they got the touchdown with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. Okay, I would have, and I was texting Pete Demolitolitis this as it was going on, with 2:12 after the penalty. To me, I would have kicked the field goal right there. Kick the field goal.
Right.
Now you kick off, and you're going to be down 7, but there's going to be 2 minutes and 7 seconds left in the football game. You still have the timeout and 2-minute warning there. You're going to have a good chance if you could stop them 3 and out. You're going to get the ball back with, a minute and 15 seconds, something like that. I thought they blew it there, but either way, they just got in before the 2-minute warning and then totally botched that right there. Kick it out of bounds. You don't do that. I just was shocked that nobody got in his ear to say that. That to me was a shocker to me.
Well, let's hear from Ben Johnson on that exact decision after the game.
Yeah, the intent was for the ball to go out of the end zone.
And was there, did you guys consider onside kick? I mean, how did that?
Yeah, it did. We felt like if we had kicked it out of the end zone and gotten the 3 and out that we got, we would get the ball back with around 56 seconds.
Once again, you don't have to kick it out of the end zone. I don't know how many. There's only so many ways you could say it.
That question should have been asked. There.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of people were, a little flustered in this moment,
right?
Because it wasn't even a huge talking point during the game.
His first game too.
Yeah, right.
We didn't hear the announcer saying it.
Right.
I didn't hear Troy or Buck go, "Hey, kick the ball out of bounds." I believe I read this morning that Peyton Manning was saying it on the Manning cast, which I couldn't agree with more, right? Peyton Manning, I heard, was flipping out. What are they doing?
He knows
right?
a thing or two.
I mean,
about
first
the
off, to kick it out of the back of the end zone, to act like, we're just going to kick it. What? It's not that easy. I mean, to kick it out of the back of the end zone? It's a 70-yard kick. What are you talking about? It's not easy. So, and outdoors, like Pete's saying in my ear, 100%.
Right.
So, for everybody to just go, kick it out of the end zone. Not everybody can just do that at just asking them to do it. So, that one I was shocked by because I think so much of Ben Johnson, and I think he's a hell of a coach, as you know, and I love his edge and his chippiness and all that. But, he showed that it was his first game, too, and he's got some things to learn, too. Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.